你好，欢迎来到另一集 TSF Reviews. Today, I'm joined by Kanza and Umair, and we are going to be taking on Shang-Chi, Legend
Yes.
of the Ten Rings. Yes, fantastic movie. I am especially happy that they have finally brought an Asian representation in the
Yeah.
MCU.
I agree.
And maybe you might not know this. My grandmother is Chinese. My mother is half Filipino, half Chinese. So, I'm pretty Asian. So, moving on. What are your thoughts before we get into this? Kanza?
Right.
Well, I mean, I pretty much loved the movie. It was an amazing movie that I would sit and watch. I would definitely watch it again very soon. I loved how we were finally getting more accurate representation. It wasn't just the fact that they were involving Asians into the MCU, but we got pretty accurate representation now, finally. I know that this movie has been in the works for a very long time, and I'm so glad they cast Simu as Shang because I feel like nobody would have fit the role better than the way he did.
There are other actors out there who do fantastic jobs, but yeah, he's pretty good casting. What about you, Omer?
All right. So, a couple of things. Like, for one, I've been waiting for this movie for like 10 years now. Right. Since the first rumor that Jackie Chan was gonna play Shang-Chi back in 2011. Right.
I remember that.
Right. And yeah, so like there was on IMDb, it was listed as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Dragon, as a movie with Jackie Chan cast as Shang-Chi back before Avengers even came out. So like I've been waiting for this movie since then,
Wow.
right? So like I was very excited to see this movie. I was very excited to see Simu casted as Shang-Chi because I love the guy in Kim's Convenience. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he did a great job. I feel like a lot of the times he just replayed the same character he did in Kim's Convenience, but that's a different discussion altogether. I want to quote Amar since he's not able to attend this review. He went from Jung Kim to damn it, what's his name? To Liu Kang in like seconds in that movie. Right?
That he did.
Yeah, because like he went from being a normal guy to like kung fu fighter in that one bus scene, but like I just love this movie. I loved it a lot visually, character wise. I love the Asian representation. I love that they focus a lot about on like the Asian language as well. It's not like just language of convenience the whole time. Like a lot of movies tend to get into the language of convenience and have everything in English despite being another language. This actually like, oh, the beginning of this movie gonna be told in Mandarin Chinese. When you get to China, everybody's talking in Mandarin Chinese. Oh, you don't have subtitles, or there's no subtitles on the stream. That's your problem, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it was just overall, I feel like it was a great experience. We'll dissect it a bit more as we get into the review, but like that was my initial thoughts.
All right. My initial thoughts. I love this movie. I love the representation. I love the part where, the part in the beginning when they're like talking at home in Chinese with the grandmother and the whole familial situation. That felt so familiar to me. I'm like, yes, that's proper representation, accurate. They didn't have to force it. It went naturally. And then the rest of the movie was fantastic. I have a few issues here and there, but we'll get into that. All right, then.
All right.
Let's talk about what we loved about this movie. And I guess all three of us are going to agree it's that bus scene because that was the fight.
That was amazing.
That was the fight
great.
of like
That was the fight that like gave me that MCU feeling. It was like that classic good guy against bad guy, and good guy is
Yep.
defending his best friend. I mean, up until then, he was all nothing but a boy next door. But as soon as his best friend got hurt, he was like, "Come here and let me at you." He was ready
and the
to throw
soundtrack.
hands.
Oh, the soundtrack behind that fight. I loved every
I
second of it.
agree. I
Same here.
agree. Loved it. Loved every second of it.
Yeah. That was like
I love the
best
entire
part.
soundtrack of the movie. Honestly, like I even looked the soundtrack up later, and every single song in that soundtrack was amazing.
Yes, it was good soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
What else did you guys like?
Honestly, my only problem with the movie is that Jackie Chan did not play as the dad. I mean, I get that he was too old to play Shang, but come on.
Oh,
That
but he
dude
could
was
have
the
had a
king of Kung
cameo.
Fu at
He
this
could have
point.
had a
That's
cameo.
alive.
It would have been amazing. Yeah. Amer, you?
Man, what did I love about this movie? I love the visuals. I love the fight sequences. I love the war scene. Right. I loved the dragon. I loved seeing all of that. Um, it was just a fantastic movie. I love how people like. I remember when the movie came out in cinema, people confused some of the mythical creatures for Pokemon because one of them looks like Ninetales and a Alolan
Yes,
Vulpix.
yes, 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 yes. I remember that
So,
scene.
yep. So like a lot of people got confused. I love how they referenced Iron Man
Nice.
3.
Hmm.
Right? So like Trevor
That was
Slater is in the movie. So like it all I just love this movie so
Hmm.
much.
It's a good movie.
Do I not like things about it? Yes, there are things I don't like. Like as much as I love the final scene, I feel like it was a little too CGI for being a kung fu fight.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was still great to watch, right? I mean, like him fighting his father, Mandarin, and all of that stuff. Like it all looked great, but like it's a kung fu movie. Like use a little bit more kung
Exactly.
fu, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't want
too
to
much
talk
style,
about
not enough Kung Fu.
like yeah. No, I mean, it's
No,
fine.
they started this off with kung fu. It didn't make sense
Yeah.
to end it on CGI fights. It
Exactly.
would have been fantastic if the last fight itself was pure kung fu with a little
Kind
bit
of
of
like
CGI, of
kind of like
course.
the scene with him, Shang, and his aunt, where Shang was being taught how to do Kung Fu, kind of like his mom.
Exactly. So
I feel
like
like something like that
all
would have been a
Mm.
better way to end the movie.
all of that went. I won't say it went in vain because he still incorporated some of that in the fight, but like
Mhm.
Yeah.
most of it was, oh, you're
CGI.
using the rings now. I have the 5 rings, and now I have all 10 rings. So you're screwed. And like yeah, so like apart from that, I mean, I feel like the movie was just like well written, well directed. Colors were great. I mean, the
Yes.
oh,
The visuals were great.
I think it's
Yeah.
Taulo.
Yes. Talo.
Fantastic colors. I mean, the contrast of I was just looking at it like I was like we watched it late at night, like 11:30, 12 o'clock, and we had a barbecue the next day. So we watched it late at night, and I was like, the second Taulo came on, and I was like, oh wow, look at those colors. I'm wide awake now. This is caffeine, baby. This is color caffeine. Like, oh, that was good stuff. And I like the balance of humor. Like, it's not a lot of people complain that Marvel is overly humorized. I disagree, but like this movie is particularly balanced it nice.
Decent balance. Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep. So that's pretty much it. I again the villain. I mean, I talked too much. The villain again, well balanced villain in my opinion. Although,
Hmm.
all right, so like Marvel has been getting it out of the park lately with the villains, except in Eternals. But that's something else.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. The the villain here was pretty great in my opinion. Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all the plus points I have to say, and like some negative points.
Okay. Speaking of negatives, one gripe: Death Dealer, the masked person, underutilized. That one fight was so
Definitely.
fantastic in Macau, and then that's it. This
Okay.
person is gone.
I
I'm
actually
like, that was the one good thing, and
I agree with you.
I lost.
I agree with you mainly because he was so underutilized. I forgot about him.
Underutilized.
Like I forgot he was in the movie until this moment.
Yeah. Badass costume, badass design, and the fight scene. That fight scene felt like it flowed so naturally, and then they're like, nope, gone. It's just absolutely sad that they've underutilized that character.
I agree with you heavily.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I guess that's it for my negatives. There's a slight slump in the middle of the movie, pace wise, but apart from that, I was okay with it. This one gripe I had with Death Dealer being underutilized and then just being yeeted off.
That's pretty
That was sad.
fair.
Honestly, I loved how close Kat and Shang were. I mean, she was just here to enjoy the ride. She got 100 arrows and she was like, okay, guess what? I'm an archer now.
Yeah,
She got attacked in the bus. She was like, okay, then I guess that's happening from now on in my life. And
yeah,
I love how they didn't turn it into kind of like a romantic relationship. They
yeah,
continued being best friends right up until the end of the movie. They did not
exactly.
try to force something to happen between the both of them.
Now, I don't know if they are together in the comics or if she's an original character, but I really like the whole friendship dynamic because not everything has to be about romance.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's good to have a good friendship, best friends forever, live and die for each other, that kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Omer? You have any more negatives for this?
I'm trying really hard to think about the negatives, in my opinion. I mean, um, don't really have a lot of negatives in mind. I think the major disappointments I did have were the Death Dealer one that I agree with you on,
Mhm.
and overuse of CGI in the final fights.
Yeah.
Um, like apart from that, I don't think there's a lot of bad things to say about this movie. It's as great as watching like a Black Panther, honestly.
Mhm.
Right? So it's like
It
it
was a good
just
movie.
yeah, it had that feeling. It had that good mix of superhero action and culture, right? So
Mhm.
like just like Black Panther did, and
Yeah.
I feel like that this kind of feels pretty great.
Yeah. Um, One thing I have a question about, and maybe you might answer this, that fight scene with Wong, and I'm not sure if that was Abomination from
It
the
it
Hulk
was.
movie,
There was
but then the
Abomination.
ears, I don't remember that being in the initial design. This one felt
He
more like a fish creature.
it might feel that way, but he confirms it by using the creature's real the guy's real name when
Okay,
after the fight.
all right, all right.
Right. My question is where's Abomination? Why is he allowed to be here?
I don't know, but it felt like maybe this is like a money making scheme Wong has on the side. Remember in that movie where he wanted something from Doctor Strange and he's like, I have rupees. And he's like,
Yeah,
how much is
exactly.
that in dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his way of making money.
Yep. I
Maybe this
will,
is what he does on his vacation time, like we saw in the
Yeah.
trailer the other
Yeah.
last time.
Yep. Also, speaking of Wong, that post-credit scene, that was
yes, I wanted
interesting.
to get to that. I wanted to talk
Hmm.
about that so much. I was waiting till we get to that point. I love the
Yeah.
post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I love the end credit scene. I post-credit scene. I mean, everybody messaged me after Omer when you're done watching. Let us know what that post-credit scene means. And the second I finish it, I'm like, holy crap!
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, but what
So
what did you think about that scene?
I loved it. I mean, there's so many things to unpack in that scene, and I love every second of it. Like seeing Bruce, seeing Carol, seeing Wong. Like Wong is officially an Avenger at this point. Let's just make
At
that
this
clear.
point,
Yeah.
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 So like seeing Wong, Carol, and Bruce like dissecting this thing and
Not to
inducting.
mention it's human Bruce.
Yes, it's human Bruce. That was like the one of the more shocking things, and
Yeah.
like how they pretty much like roped Shang-Chi into this, right? So
Yep.
they're like, yeah, you know what? You're a part of this now, right? So what are we gonna do? Then they just go off and sing Hotel California, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
That was the most relatable part of the
Right?
That
movie
song has been in my
because
head since that
I
movie.
I with my cousins we karaoke a lot. I have my own karaoke machine at home. Karaoke is such a big part of the Asian culture. It's like, wow,
That it is.
representation, like
Yeah.
right there. It was fantastic. Let's get to our scores, unless we have anything more to say.
Nope. Not a lot more to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kansa, your score?
Probably a 9.5.
Ooh, okay. Omer, yours?
8.5.
I have it as a 8.25. I'm cutting points off for the death dealer thingy. and underutilization of some other characters. But yeah, that's I think that's a good score. That brings it to an average of what, 8.75, I guess.
We
Something.
could round it up to 9, or we could round it down to 8.5.
8.5 is
Let's go with
Yeah.
8.5. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
fair, very fair number.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I think we're done here.
All right. Yeah. So this has been our review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I would have done this part in Mandarin, except that I don't know any Mandarin. My grandmother never taught me. And
Such
it's
a
too late.
shame.
It's too late to ask her now.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, this is
Probably
us.
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'll try to contact her ghost.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you all. Shishi and Zhenjian.
Take care, everybody.